Hello y'all on YouTube, this is Rob from Rob's Nerdy Knives. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about what I think make a knife kind of a luxury knife, or what makes it maybe a nicer knife than just a traditional pocket knife that's just a tool, right? So what are some of the things that I find that I really enjoy in knives that make it I don't know, just a nicer knife? And those things can be seen in the very high-end cost expensive knives and some of the amenities and some of the things they put into the knife, to even some of the cheaper knives and some of the things they do with those knives. So I have a kind of a selection of knives here, and all of these I find to be a bit luxurious because of one thing or another, and I'd like to go through that and just kind of discuss that and see what you think. This is sort of where I'm at in my knife journey right now, and these are the kind of knives that I enjoy and look for and like to acquire and use and carry. So, everyone's going to have a different journey. Everyone's going to have a different aesthetic that they like, but I like to share mine. Perhaps we agree on some things and disagree on others, but if nothing else, when I see other people discuss their aesthetics, it opens up my mind. It opens up my perspective. I used to be very much against, for instance, Damasteel. I had no desire to have that. I had no desire for some of the weird carbon fibers out there. I wasn't a big fan of just titanium only knives and things like that. So it's just, my journey has changed a bit and my aesthetics have changed a bit. So, let's go into this. So one of the first ones that I have here is my QSP Penguin. This is a traditional pocket knives exclusive. I really, really like this. I jokingly say that this is my nicest cheap knife, my nicest inexpensive knife. And it really is, because this is a jigged milled titanium handle, and it's got a milled deep carry clip, as you can see right there, which is really nice. And the steel, I don't know if you can see that. We can get that on camera there. That's M390 steel on a QSP Penguin, of all things. So this is really great, and the action on this knife is just fantastic. I use this and carry this quite a bit, and forgive me if I sneeze here in just a second, but my nose is itchy and I feel like I might sneeze. With all the lights going on here, it could happen. Anyways, flat grind, really beautiful knife. I love the action. The cage ceramic ball bearings make this just, drop shut. And for such an inexpensive knife, for around 125, 130 bucks, this is just fantastic. I know it's hard to get a hold of this one now. I think they sold out of them, and I hope they carry them again, because they had a black version of it that I don't normally like to get two knives of the same thing, but I would make an exception for the black one on this case. I really would. So that being said, this would definitely be something that I might consider. But this to me makes it a luxury knife. I love the standoffs back here. I just love the feel of it. It's really small, it's light, it's easy to carry, it's easy to flick, very easy to deploy, even left-handed with the frame lock here and everything. The frame lock doesn't get in the way, especially by putting my thumb on the clip and all that good stuff. But I just love how the action is just so smooth when it drop shuts and everything. The cage ceramic ball bearings, either I've got the perfect ones on this knife, or they're all just fantastic. But this is just a really, really great value, high-end value to me for an inexpensive knife. I really, really like this. I mean, it's just really nice. So this is like, I would call a luxurious feeling, inexpensive knife. I love this knife. I've even been offered to somebody to buy this, because when they went out and they sold out, and I just can't see myself selling this one. I just like it that much. So that's one. Let's see, another one would be this recent one, this Ray Laconico Keen. It's a Kaviso collab or collaborative, I guess, effort between Ray Laconico and Kaviso. And I really like this knife. It's very simple, but this is Ray Laconico design. If you're familiar with Ray Laconico, you know his aesthetics and his designs are very clean, very linear, and just very symmetrical. So I really like this. The action on this thing is just beautiful. Again, just drop shutty. And because of the way this is a full flat grind, it's easy. Oops, let's do that again. It's easy to reverse flick with the flat grind here. So I really like that a lot. And It's just so buttery smooth. Just a really great knife. I love the sand, what I think it's glass bead blasted texture here, and the milled titanium carry clip. It's not deep, but it, relatively okay. But the action is just phenomenal. I just love this. This makes it, to me, a very nice luxurious kind of feeling knife, and something that I enjoy. Another one is, I think I'm going to put this one over here, is going to be this one, the Benchmade Bugout. Now, I had a lot of Benchmades. My very first jump into the knife community, or into really nice knives, was the Mini Barrage. I had a orange one that I got from Cabela's. Really liked it. It had D2 steel. Love that knife. Matter of fact, I still would have it, but I gave it to my oldest son, who now has it, so he carries that knife. Matter of fact, if I had thought I would ever do a YouTube channel, I might have kept it just for this, but that's a really nice knife, and I saw that there were things nicer than, the CRKT, the Columbia River Knife and Company and Technology, or, SOG, or any of those other knives, which were all great knives. Don't get me wrong. They're great knives, but that was like an eye-opener, like, wow, that's really nice. And then I saw that there were other Benchmades. And so I've had an Adamas, a Mini Adamas, I've had the Mini Osborne, I've had the Bugout in the carbon fiber, I had the Osborne in the carbon fiber, I've had, let's see here, I had a Moderator, automatic, let's see here, I had, what else did I had? I had another one of their automatics, can't think of it right now. Presidio, I think it's Presario, Mini Presario, whatever, it was an automatic too. All of those I really liked. And I had the Bugout. I had the Mini Bugout in the carbon fiber, and the Elite carbon fiber, and then the regular one that I actually gave to my son as a graduation gift. And so I was done with Benchmade, and I was done with this whole axis lock, but I then discovered and saw some videos and learned how to actually polish up the Phosphor Browns washers and tune everything, and oil with the high viscosity nano oil 85 weight oil in here, and really make the action, oops, of course it helps if you flick it correctly, make the action just really fantastic, where it just kind of goes down. So recently I had to replace one of the springs, because one of the springs broke, which never happened. I think it's because I took it apart too many times and probably didn't assemble it correctly the last time, but never had an issue with any axis lock. But this one that I took apart probably the most, because I had switched out the spacers with the blue ones. I wanted to see what they would look like. I like the red. I like the red because on Fridays I like to wear something red, and this is something red, and it goes into my rotation for Fridays. But this is probably by far my favorite Bugout. I like the milled aluminum scales here. It's got the nice milling on here. Really like that. I like of course, the deep carry clip and the black hardware on here. I really like that. And by the way, this right here is an M390. I don't know if you can see that, M390 steel, and that's really nice. This blade sharpens and hones up really nicely. So to me, this was kind of a luxurious one, and it felt more solid. I had more better grip. I had more control, better grip on this, especially with this one. I've never had an issue with the Benchmade clips. They've always been fantastic, even though they're not quite recessed. You get spoiled with all the other ones who do recess now, but I really like that. And I still love this very thin blade. It's fantastic. It's great for slicing. This flat grind comes down. Beautiful, beautiful, fun knife, and just a really very compact EDC type of knife. I like that a lot. So that to me is kind of a luxurious version of many of the Benchmade ones out there. So the next one here, I'm gonna go ahead and move this one up, because we'll talk about that one here in a second. This is the TRM Atom, and I really like this a lot. I've had a couple of TRM Atoms. I had the titanium milled one, very, very nice. But it was so nice that, I don't know, I just didn't carry it a whole lot. And then I got this right here, the red fat carbon, and I like that. I just really like the contour shape of the scales. It felt very luxurious, and I don't know if you can actually see this. Let's see if we can get some of the light on here, but there's actually a milling in here. You can see there's a pattern, and that gives it a nice texture when you hold this. And that makes this knife very, very grippy, very comfortable, very much in control when you hold this knife and you use it. And this liner lock here is just fantastic. It just drop shuts. And this, again, also, like the Benchmade, is phosphor bronze washers. Both of these are phosphor bronze washers. And by tuning these up, I mean, it's just fantastic. Just really wonderful. And it's easy to, and I know, of course, I haven't done this in a while, to reverse flick, but it is easy to do once you get in the habit of doing it. And if you haven't carried the knife in a while, you forget how it works, right? So, but anyways, it works really nice. And this also has the O-rings. These are the 6mm O-rings that I put around the thumb studs because they're made just perfectly fit for that. And it's a nice feel for that. I really like that. So when you get a fit under here, it feels comfortable and gives you a little tackiness, which is nice and comfort. But again, milled, this is a milled titanium clip, deep carry. The screws are relatively recessed. The whole liner on these are all titanium. And so that's titanium on the back of the steel. This is CPM 20CV, excuse me, CPM 20CV. So it's crucible metal. It's a really nice high premium steel. And again, the grind and shape and the flat grind on here makes this a beautiful slicer. It's a very thin blade. Love that. So to me, this became kind of a luxurious version. I know they make the Neutron and some other ones, and I thought of getting that, but I just like this. I like this shape. I like this size. I like this, the comfort of using this knife here like this. It's really just very comfortable. I really enjoy this knife a lot. It's easy to, easy to reverse flick as well once you do this, and it's light. It's very light. It's thin. It's a slicer. It's very comfortable to carry. It's not obtrusive. It's not huge. Just really carries well. So to me, that's very much luxurious. And I like the fat carbon. Fat carbon designs, as you can see, I have several fat carbons over here. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different knives with fat carbon just here alone. I have more. I really, really do enjoy that a lot. And so that to me is kind of luxurious. All right, the next one, I keep moving this. I have to. The next one is the Paramilitary 3. And this was an anniversary gift from my wife. And this is the Arctic Storm fat carbon fiber. I really like this. And I don't know if you can see it in the light, the way it reflects in the sun. It's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. It just shimmers. And it's almost mesmerizing because of the way the light refracts and reflects all over the place. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Makes this a stunning knife. And the Paramilitary 2 with the Spidey flick is nice, and it's a beautiful long blade. And I have this called a CME, a compression made easy. It's by OCD for EDC. Check out his channel. He sells these, and these are it's brilliant. It's a compression attachment. You glue it on here and attaches, and it's really made so that if you're lefty, right, and you want to be able to drop the knife, makes it relatively easy. So you don't have, you don't feel like you can do it without losing that control. You can control it left hand. All right, I'm back. There was an Amber Alert that kind of interrupted my recording here, so I apologize for that. And I'll splice this together, and you'll see it kind of fade together here. So I don't exactly remember where I'm at, but we'll just go ahead and go from here. But again, I love how this reflects and refracts, and it's just beautiful, just gorgeous, especially in the sunlight. And the CME we talked about, of course, this has a Lynch deep carry clip. I did the black one here. And maybe next time I'll consider getting the silver or the natural metal one. Maybe I'll even try that later on and put one of those on there. But I like the Paramilitary and Paramilitary 2. In fact, right now I'm carrying my Spyderco Paramilitary 2. And if you can see, I actually have 2 of them, both in the Arctic Storm fat carbon, both with the deep carry clip, and both with the CME, and both, just very nice, easy to flick kind of knives. So I like that a lot. As you can see, they're great knives, very fun. Anyways, I'm gonna put the Paramilitary 2 away, but this was an anniversary gift from my wife. Just a wonderful, wonderful knife. It's the bigger version, definitely a little bit more luxurious. This also has the CPM S45VN steel, which is, kind of an upgrade to the CPM S35VN steel. It's supposed to be a little more, I guess, corrosion resistant. It's supposed to be a little easier to sharpen, if I recall correctly. But anyways, still a nice steel. And this full flat grind makes this just really a beautiful slicer. The design here and everything with the full forward choil here with the jimping on here makes this just really a great utility tool in the sense of you can really cut things well with this. So I really like that a lot. And again, this to me makes it luxurious. This gives it just that extra, I don't know, kind of luxury that I enjoy with the deep carry clip and all these other things. This makes it, to me, a knife that's just, even better than the original. I like the original. I really do. I still have the original scales. The G10 scales, the texture, they're great, very grippy, very useful. I mean, it's a great, useful type of a knife. And then the clip they have, it's not very deep carry clip. That's because they make the priority of the lanyard hole here, because that's, super important, obviously, to a lot of Spyderco folks and design. Not for me. So I like this deep carry clip, kind of goes past that. So anyways, this makes it a very luxurious type of knife. And I like the CPM S45VN steel. I know it came out in crew wear and it came out in like S110 and some other things. Definitely would have probably considered those had I not already gotten this. And as you probably know, if you've read or if you've watched any of my other videos, I don't typically carry or buy or collect more than one of the same kind of knife. This even to me is almost a stretch, the Paramilitary 2 and Paramilitary 3. I kept the 2 because I like the compactness of this one. It's really nice when I want something small. And I really like this because especially when I want something a little bigger, a little more robust, a bigger slice or something I really do need to do a lot of cutting with. This is a great knife for that. And, now that I kind of doing a YouTube thing, these would be great for comparisons if I ever need to start maybe showing comparisons in knives when I get knives that are maybe kind of new or people aren't familiar with, to show the sizes. I should probably do that in some of those reviews. It's a good idea. I think I'll try to remember that. But again, the fat carbon fiber or the fat carbon scales I really like a lot. I find that very luxurious. As you can see, just the reflection is really nice. All right, you know what? I know, I keep skipping this one. I promise, I'm coming to it. This next one is something that you're not gonna find out there. It went on sale and then they haven't released anything new. It's by Bade Modern Designs. And I got in on this when it first came out and I thought I really liked the aesthetics. I like the very symmetrical look of this. I like kind of a little curvature and kind of things that just fit together well. And I love the symmetry. And to me, that was really nice. And this right here is kind of like you want to call it a meteorite kind of carbon fiber. It looks like meteorites, craters in the moon, crater kind of carbon fiber. The texture is really cool. And I don't know if you can see the texture, but in the sun, it does have the typical carbon fiber reflections and shimmering things that it does. It's really nice, but this texture is really neat. I like that a lot. And then this is blue anodized thumb studs, blue anodized kind of pivot, blue anodized hardware, and a blue anodized deep carry clip. It actually comes with a regular deep carry clip without any blue anodization. So if you didn't want that to be blue, you could just put a regular clip and that would be the same color as the rest of it. And then the back spacer here, that is blue anodized as well. And all that is titanium. And I believe this is made by Bestech. Now, the flipper, the jimping here is just really perfect. This is the first time I experienced perfect jimping on a flipper. And I love that. And the action on this thing is ridiculous. And I love this. And it just drop shuts gorgeous. It's beautiful. I put skiff bearings on this. Love, love, love how that fit in on this knife. It just makes it phenomenal. And after this knife was released, if you will, I believe it was like everybody was trying to get a hold of it and people were selling this for more than people paid for it. And I can tell you, I wouldn't sell this because I really like this knife. This is one of these that I'm going to keep. You would have to twist my arm pretty well and offer me something ridiculous for me to consider it. There's so many things. This is a hollow grind. I don't know if you can see that, but that is a hollow grind in there. It's not a flat grind. It's got a forward choil that is ridiculous. I mean, this is like the perfect forward finger choil. You can really choke up on this and not worry about getting cut on that little part. I mean, it's ridiculous. Even the jimping here, it's not very aggressive, but it's spread out and deep enough that it actually gives you traction if you grip hard. This clip doesn't hurt. It's just so many good things about this. And I love this M390 steel. It's easy to sharpen, and with the leather strop, I mean, I get this thing sharp immediately. And it has multiple deployment. You can flip it, you can thumb stud it, you can reverse thumb stud it. I mean, to me, it's just so much fun. I really just enjoy that. And the action and the smoothness, the buttery smoothness is ridiculous. So this is one of those knives that it was probably my first real experience in what I felt like everything worked and worked well together. And so I like this knife a lot. And that to me is kind of luxurious. Makes the knife just that much nicer. All right, now we'll get to it. My Andrew Demko AD 20.5. I had the first one, which was in K110 or D2 steel, and it had the FRN scales. And then I bought some Rips Garage Technology, I think it's Rips Garage, it's RGT or whatever. It's the initial, some scales I put on that one. But then they came out with this one with the bigger pivot, and then the milled titanium. And I wanted to do milled titanium. I know Goat or Ultimate Goat or something like that, they had them, but this right here, this is perfect. This is really the kind of milled titanium scale that I was looking for. And then I put, of course, a Lynch deep carry clip. Now it's pretty deep. You can see that it's deeper than this, and that's because it's really made for both the 80-20 and the 80-20.5, right? So it's made for two different knives, and the 20.5 would be more level, but it still works, same spacer aside. This is the Shark Lock, and so it's this right here that works. So you can kind of flick it in and out like that, which makes it really nice. You can flick it reverse. It's got a fuller. You can use that. You can forward flip it, which is nice. And you can do the same with the opposite side. There's nothing getting in the way. So this is perfect for left or right. I can switch this and make this a left-handed one very easily. So if you're a lefty, this is a fantastic knife. This is truly ambidextrous as far as a lefty is concerned. I mean, this is a perfect lefty kind of knife. But I love this knife. I wasn't into this Wharncliffe, what they call it, a shark's foot, right? But it's really a Wharncliffe, right? I wasn't into this blade style because I had the, I think it was a spear point, or I forget what they called the other one. But that one, it's longer, yeah, definitely. And if you're into ratios, it does go all the way to the edge. This one is a little short, as you can see. It's probably, what, a quarter inch, a third of an inch, maybe half an inch shorter. But this is such a very useful kind of shape. Very great for cutting and work. And this is a CPM 3V. So this is CPM 3V, and that made this a really nice steel. I had never had 3V steel. I was very excited to get that. And this to me was like, okay, let's give it a try. Let me tell you, this hones and sharpens up so nicely. And so there was just, that to me was the luxury. A CPM 3V, as opposed to D2, that was a really nice steel I hadn't have. I know it's not corrosion resistant, but man, it's a tough, great steel. So this is I love using this. I use it, if you call it a beater, I use it for hard work, cutting things. And because it's, whether it's a stone washed, you can't really see any of the markings or any of the things I've done on here. Maybe you can see a few things. I don't know if you can. I can't really, but maybe on the camera it shows up. But I use this a lot. I've had to clean it out and everything. But this Shark Lock is just so cool. It's so strong. And again, you can choke up really nicely on this. And this jimping keeps you there. You're not going to slide forward. Now, you know, granted, you could slip over here, but you can really put your other finger up here to really keep yourself from doing that, and hold tight like that if you're doing some kind of, you know, hard work. But this to me became luxurious, this type of scale in a deep carry clip. I just like this, and it's just, it grips, it holds well. I'm not going to lose it. It's got great traction, and that to me makes it become very useful, you know. So this is a great knife. And the fidgety, oh my gosh, the fidgety, I could go on and on. This knife drives my wife crazy. It does, because once I get this and I start fidgeting, she literally will tell me to go put it away or stop. But that's a fun one. That's a lot of fun, okay? All right, so the next one here is my Vero Engineering. Now, it was my first exposure to Vero Engineering. I've seen them. I like their shape. I'm a nerd. I'm a science guy, and I found out this guy was I believe he was a NASA engineer or a former NASA engineer. Anyways, he designed this, and the aesthetics and the lines and the beauty of this, it to me is very appealing, because there is a beautiful design here, There's a linear design that flows well and is very pleasing to my logical mind, but also is very creative. So there's this marriage between creativity and logic and design that I just dig. I love this. I mean, I just think it's fantastic. And Vero Engineering, and this is called the Axon, and it's a front flipper, but it's got these fullers, kind of cut out rectangular fullers, and so it's made to be a flipper, right? And it's a frame lock, so you can drop, and the action is beautiful. And so reverse flicking is nice. And oh, and this one I also put skiff caged ceramic ball bearing washers, as I did with my Andrew Demko. So check out skiff. Matter of fact, you can put washers on a lot of different things, and really something worthwhile considering. But the action here on this is just, I don't know if you can see that, it just drops beautiful. And then it's a front flipper, so you can front flip it, right? You know, you can front flip it up there. It's really nice. And it works, you know, just the same way the other way. So I can front flip it that way and drop it over here. And then I can, let's see if I can do this. I haven't done it well. Yep, reverse flick it over here. And this Warncliffe blade, it's a beautiful flat grind all the way down to the edge, and it's super, super sharp. I mean, I can shave my arms with this. I did sharpen this because I wanted a little bit more longer edge on here. It was a very short edge. It was like 25 degrees, which makes it a tough blade, right? But it makes it not as great slicer. And I'm not gonna be beating this knife to death. This is more of a gentleman carry to me because of the aesthetics and the beauty. Now I can choke up, you can see it's flat up here, but you gotta be careful. You don't wanna cut yourself. It does have some jimping, so all that's nice. M390 steel, love that. And full titanium handle, milled 3D titanium clip, all this made it very luxurious. And I just love the design of this, and even the sound as it opens. You can hear that. It's just kind of a, let me make sure I do this right. It just has a nice sound to it to me. I don't know if you can hear it. I like that sound. So that to me is another luxurious thing. Well, the next one here is my Shaman. So I've always wanted a Shaman. I heard about the Shaman. People had Shaman. People talked about him. Or Shaman. I know that's the proper pronunciation, Shaman. But I picked up what Nick Shabazz and Metal Complex and some other folks have called it, the Shaman. So I apologize if that bothers you. But to me, I kind of like that. It's kind of funny. So I'll call it the Shaman. But this is just a wonderful Spyderco. Again, we've got the CME, compression made easy. It is a compression lock. This, as you can see, is fat carbon, red fat carbon scales. I added that to make it luxurious. A Lynch deep carry clip as well. Oh, my mistake. This is not a Lynch deep carry clip. This is Pacific Suns deep carry clips. These are made by Pacific Suns. You have to get these through Etsy. Those are nice. I have to admit, I do like the Lynch deep carry clip. It is a little nicer, but these are very affordable. These were like 18, 19 bucks. So if you're looking for something expensive, that's a really nice alternative. These are a little bit more, but with a little bit more, you get a little better quality. So it's up to you. Are you willing to spend an extra $10? Then maybe look at the Lynch clip. If you want to save a little bit, maybe consider the Pacific Suns on Etsy. But again, the contoured scales, I didn't know that, you know, the Shaman would be so fantastically ergonomic. And I don't know if you can tell, there's jimping up here, so that's really made for your finger, but guess what? I can front flip it, which I thought was really cool. And then of course you can do the spider flick and the front spider flick, so that's really nice. And then it has that forward finger choil with the jimping, and then the aggressive jimping up here, so you can really do some hard work. And again, this is LMAX steel, so that's a really nice steel, a really good work steel, and a full flat grind comes to a very, very sharp edge. And this has a long edge. This is a really nice edge that they did. Spyderco does a great job, and their heat treat of steels is really top notch. If you want to talk about someone in production knives that does a great heat treat, Spyderco, especially the US and their Taiwan factories, they do a fantastic job, really worth considering. This is a USA made one. This is a USA made one. I have a smock that's a USA, it's a Taiwan one. I don't have it out here because it's kind of along the same lines, but the Shaman to me was just a step above because one, it's such a thicker blade steel, and it's a really hard use kind of knife, and the contour and the shape of the scales is just phenomenal. Makes this so useful and so functional. And that to me made it a very luxurious knife. And I love carrying this, especially with the red fat carbon scales on Fridays, as you can imagine. So that's another thing. All right, so here we delve into what I would say are an area, an aesthetic that I had not thought I would ever go into. The Enrique Peña, I have another Enrique Peña, a trapper. It's a front flipper. Love that little knife. It's a nice compact knife. It's a great small knife to carry. It's a great fifth pocket knife. But this Muha is really fantastic. It's got the red fat carbon inlays, which I think is gorgeous. And they stand out a little bit, but perfectly stand out. This is a Riot made knife, so the quality is outstanding. You can see there's this brass back spacer, which is gorgeous. It's starting to patina up nicely because I've had it for a while, but it never patinas perfectly because I carry it and that rubs off any patina that's there. You can probably see it better on the inside once I open it. But if you can see, you'll probably already starting to notice. This is a Damasteel. And this is my first venture into Damasteel, and I haven't had another knife yet in Damasteel because, you know, all my knives, I kind of take the opinion that I'm going to use my knives, right? So all my knives are user knives. And that doesn't mean that, you know, I wouldn't like to get a nice knife, but I'd like to have every knife to be a user knife. And this is probably the nicest user knife, if you will, that has for the steel. Now, Damasteel, if you're not familiar, is kind of like it's useful as like 154 cm. It is made by I can't remember the name of the plant. It's not. Is it Bowler? No, that's Bowler M390. It's I can't remember. But anyways, it's a really nice high-end steel, and it's very rust resistant. It's not perfectly, but it is pretty rust resistant. It keeps an edge pretty well. It sharpens up relatively easily, and it's pretty tough. And it's not like some of the cheap Damasteels that you see, not Damasteel, but Damascus steel that some people do, which is sometimes just like 440 or 410 or whatever kind of steel. It's cheaper steels. This is a nice high-end steel. And again, I put skiff washers in here, and that made it, you know, the action really nice. And it's got that milled deep, well, not deep carry, but a milled clip, which is nice. It's got the thumb studs. You can reverse and front flick it and be left-handed here. Now, the other thing is you noticed it's got the jimping up here. So this is also a front flipper, which makes it really nice. So you can front flip this little knife as well. I like that a lot, and I can also do it over here as well. So very, very nice, very, very nice little knife. Now, this does have a little edging over here, but it's not very sharp. Like sometimes when people do this right here in the frame lock, this is pretty sharp and it rips up your jeans, but this is pretty smooth. But again, this made it luxurious. It's a little smaller than some of these other bigger knives you can see. So it's a nice small carry knife. And, you know, it doesn't have a lot of the, you know, the finger shape or whatever, if you will, the groove like you will see over here, where you can really kind of lock your hand in and you're not going to slide as much on the knife. But again, this is kind of like a church knife for me. It's more of a gentleman's carry, something I would carry to cut boxes, envelopes, you know, not something as aggressive. I would not use this in the yard work, or if I was cutting branches, or I was, you know, working in the garage, cutting ropes and cutting all sorts of stuff, putting things together, tearing things apart. I would not use this knife for that, obviously. But I did sharpen the edge, and so it's got a pretty sharp, nice edge on there. I did finally get it pretty sharp. It had a very short edge, and so I brought it out to about 20 degrees, I think, maybe 19 degrees. I think it's 20 degrees. It was like 25, and so this gives a much nicer sharpening, or much nicer cutting edge. But again, it is a frame lock, and I think what makes it just really luxurious is, you know, the whole action. It's buttery smooth, it's a nice compact, it's EDC, and then this Damasteel. It's just really gorgeous. That was my first venture into Damascus or Damasteel, and I like it. And I would love to do it again if I could afford it, you know, because sometimes some of those knives that have it, they're a little out of reach as far as being a user knife to me, because the cost makes it just kind of prohibitive. Because right now my budget, that puts me out of the range I'm willing to spend at this point in my life. All right, so this next one here, this is the Liong GSD2. That's so I'll do the clean version. It's Get Stuff Done version 2. The real name of it is, so here, close your ears so if you don't like cuss words, but the real name of it is Get Shit Done. That's the name of the knife, okay? but it's the version 2, and it almost looks like an integral, but it's not. You can see there's a faint line right there. I don't know if you can see that. Oops, I hit the camera, sorry. But you can see the line right there, all right? It's got a kind of a deep carry clip, and it's got this ball with a ceramic ball. I'd heard all sorts of negative things about that. This works fantastic. I have no issues with this. This is just outstanding. Maybe it's because it's on this fat carbon inlays or inserts that I have. These are called a space coral. Now, they're not as reflective as like the red fat carbon or the Arctic storm, but still gorgeous. And I don't know if I can get you in close enough. You can see the design and the pattern. It's even on the edge here. You can even see it right here. It's all the way through, right? It's just really gorgeous. It's called space coral because it literally looks like coral. And again, this is kind of an orange peel texture, and I don't know if you can see that on the knife. Just kind of a orange peel kind of texture. I really like that a lot. And again, the flipper has got all this wonderful jimping, so it makes it a really fantastic flipper. And the sound it makes, I love that sound. I just love that sound. It kind of resonates with the titanium handle, and then because it has these inserts, I think it makes a kind of unique dull sound that kind of makes it a very unique sounding knife. I really enjoyed it. Now it has the fuller right here, as you can see. So let's see if we can do it. Yeah, you can reverse flick that really nicely. And again, I put skiff cage ceramic bearings, so it makes it really drop shutty. So when I do that, it drops down just really nicely. And because the inserts cover the frame lock, this is now a bolster lock. And you can see it's cut out a little bit in here, but it's still part of the frame. And so it's a bolster lock because now it's not getting in the way. If I want to like reverse flick over here, I'm not going to catch it, right? So it's very left hand friendly, even though it's only, the clip is only right-handed. So unfortunately, it doesn't reverse. You can't reverse the clip on this one. But I do think he makes some left-handed versions, if I saw correctly. So if you really, really like this, you should check to see if he drops some left-handed. This is a beautiful, I love this blade design. This is a hand sanded or hand polished satin kind of finish. And to me, I see what they're talking about with the hand polish. It's gorgeous. I love this knife. Just beautiful. The action, everything is just outstanding. Just drops shut like a dream, and just it's beautiful. Again, this makes it luxurious. Just all the different aesthetics, all the things bringing it together, and the symmetry again. I really like that. All right, so last example here for me, it almost looks plain Jane, if you will, compared to all these other ones. But there's such beauty and precision in this that makes this really just an outstanding knife. And this is my Arno Bernard iMamba. And it kind of has a reminiscent of a Chris Reeve, like a Sebenza or Umnuzan or whatever. You can see the little etching there for AB for Arno Bernard. And then it has this fuller that has a little cutout fuller, which is kind of Star Trek looking. I really like that. Or I feel like, you know, if Iron Man had a knife, this is what he would have, because it just kind of looks like that. And it's a flipper. It's got some nice jimping, really well jimped there, and it works really well. It's got this one backspacer, right? Sorry, standoff. This one standoff back here, but it's solid, right? And one pivot right here. So, and then this milled carry clip. Now it's about, let's see here, it's about that deep. So it's not relatively deep. It's not super deep carry. It's not totally concealed, but this is a very executive, nice looking knife. And this glass bead blasted finish is so smooth. I had a Chris Reeve Umnumzon, and I had it glass bead blasted directly from Chris Reeve after I had it, because that knife, before I did that, tore up like 3 pairs of jeans. And I have jeans that are ripped to this day from that knife alone. But this is just really nice. It's very smooth. Now I've carried it quite a bit, and I've got some scuff marks because I use it. You know, I'm not afraid to use these knives. It's not a Save Queen, but if you notice, this is RWL 34 steel, and it's this beautiful polish kind of a finish on this. It's just gorgeous. I think they get it perfectly mirror polished, and then they kind of tumble it a little bit, so it looks not perfectly polished. But this is, again, a hollow grind, and I don't know if you can see that, but you should be able to see that in the reflection. But it's a beautiful hollow grind. It's a slight hollow grind. It's not a super aggressive one, but the edge comes down very, very thin down here. and boy, is this sharp. I can feel it just pulling skin off as I'm touching it, right? Again, this is on ceramic ball bearings, and you can reverse flick it with this nice little fuller that they have here, and it's buttery smooth. So smooth, and it glides, and I love the sound that this knife makes. So to me, that's what makes this one really luxurious. I love carrying this one. I love flipping this and just using this one. It's easy to reverse flick, and it does have a steel insert for the lockup, which is really nice because typically high-end knives, you don't have that, so that's really nice. And this is I would say, is a full custom. They do send out the cutting of the steel to one shop where they were in South Africa. They actually get it cut by another company, but it's still done there in South Africa. And then they come back and they do all the rest of the stuff by themselves. I believe the four brothers touch each one of these knives at least 200 times. But because the exchange rate is so favorable with the USA right now, I was able to get a hold of one of these for just a ridiculous price. I'm sure when that changes, or if that changes, these will become very unaffordable. Not unaffordable, but more pricey, and probably likely so, because it is really great quality. Really is. And I love that. And you can even see up here, it's rounded on the tops, really nice. Everything is sharp edge. It's so many little aesthetics that I like. And I don't know if you can tell, I kind of had an aesthetic in my knives. I'm not wild. I'm not into these saber grinds or these other really crazy, unique, radical designs. I like functional, logical kind of designs. I like things that work and function and fit and feel. And so that to me is the aesthetic and the luxury that I enjoy. And so that's kind of where my perspective is. I don't know, where's yours? So feel free to comment at the bottom and let me know, what are your thoughts? What are some things that you have found maybe that you liked at first and maybe you don't like anymore now? Maybe your aesthetics have changed now. How did they change? What changed those aesthetics for you? If you found this video interesting, informative, and entertaining, would you mind hitting the subscribe button and also hitting on the like? It sure helps me and helps me know that I'm providing some content that you like or find valuable or interesting at least. And also consider checking me out on Instagram at robs_nerdy_knives. And I sure appreciate you joining me today and listening to some of Rob's ramblings here. It's always fun to share kind of some of my thoughts on these knives. You guys have a great day and a great week.